This Week in 40K.
Welcome to This Week in 40K for December 19th, 2023. The show about the grimdark that is neither grim nor dark. I am Billy. It is still just me, and will continue to be so for the foreseeable future. This will likely be the last show of 2023. I don't anticipate, with Christmas and New Year's both taking place largely over the weekends, that there will be much in the way of events to talk about globally. And GW does seem to have largely finalized news dumps for 40K for this year, although we will get to the big dump, the big reason that we're here today to talk news momentarily. In terms of my life, what is happening? Football is going well. It's the Best in Tabletop Network's Fantasy Football Playoffs, where I am currently going up against, I believe it is Will Farley, but I will let you know. And I am winning my game in the playoffs. Yes, Will Farley of the Fenris Wolves has 105 points. I have 120. We play one more week in aggregate scoring to move on. Colin is playing my friend who will not listen to this podcast. He's not part of he doesn't play 40K and is currently a little bit behind, but that's very exciting. And both Colin and my football teams won, which in rarity, I was happy that his team won because it helps mine in weird ways. I also threw out my back. That's fun. Don't get old, kids, except do, because it's better than the alternative, but take care of your back because you don't want that to go out. Otherwise, just looking forward to the holidays and spending some time with family who will be coming into town for the first time in a long time. That's the broad strokes. Like I said, last episode of 2023, unless something really big happens, check back if you will, but don't expect anything until probably January 8th or 9th, whatever that Tuesday is. It is January 9th. With that, let's get, and this will be a shorter show because there's relatively little news. There were only 3 events that are worth talking about. That said, there is a fun top story, so let's go.
Our top story.
So the top story this week is something that GW is also very happy to put out, send out emails about it, in addition to it just being on the front of the Warhammer community page, is that the Amazon deal that was, whether it was spearheaded or not, it was certainly, flagshipped, not flagshipped. The face of the deal was that Henry Cavill was going to bring the world of Games Workshop to Amazon. They announced it last year, but it was a deal in principle. And as someone who spends most of his compensated life working on things that go from deals in principle to fully executed deals, I can attest that a year is an amount of time that those things can take. And this one for Amazon did take about a year, but they announced over the weekend that they have reached a full agreement between Games Workshop and Amazon for Amazon to bring a variety of different shows. And they said both to the small and big screen, so TV shows and movies, it sounds like we're going to get. This is a big deal because the main interaction point that I have with people who don't play Games Workshop games, when I tell them that they do, is either they know or I mention that Henry Cavill is a fan of that, and then they ask, do I know him? No, I do not. Have I ever met him? No, I have not. But they get very excited and giddy when I get to the point where I explain, oh yeah, I do a podcast. It's fun. I enjoy it. They ask, has Henry Cavill ever been on it? I explain, no, he is not. And they ask, can I be on it if he ever is? To which I say, sure. So standing invitation to Henry Cavill, you are invited to this podcast if you would like to advertise for the Amazon deal that you've done. And you will have every member of my family who thinks that you are an interesting and attractive specimen of humanity clustered around my shoulders as it takes place. And with that kind of an invitation, who can say no? But this is a big deal and it's not just a big deal because it allows me to, mock myself, really. It's a big deal because getting the IP out into the broader world is a really good way to grow the community. everyone knows about Harry Potter. Everyone knows about Marvel. Everyone, knows about Lord of the Rings. These were all things that, those of you who probably listened to these episodes on the weekly knew about anyway. But then you got to talk to your non-gamer friends about your gaming passions. Game of Thrones is really the epitome of that for me. I started reading those books back in the 90s, again, because I'm old, and they were my favorite series. And I could talk to people for hours and hours and hours about those books, but no one was particularly interested in having that conversation. And then the shows came out and they were a worldwide phenomenon. And I got to explain who Jon Snow's parents were to people, and talk about how point of view characters don't actually die. So yes, Ned is, things are going to happen in the first season, but after that, your safer characters are safer. The Red Wedding is actually, you can tell who does and doesn't die based on who is and isn't a point of view character in the books. That feels like a safe spoiler. Apologies if it isn't. But we're going to have the opportunity to have those kinds of conversations with people outside of our normal spaces. And for me, that's very exciting, because I do think that one of the things that this hobby would benefit from would be a little less homogeneity. You look around a game store, especially the people playing 40K, and you can sort of tell who they are. They look a lot like me. And I would like that to change. So I'm very hopeful that, for me, the success of these shows will be if other people like them, if non-40K players like them, and if they bring more people into our community. I would obviously love for them to be quality shows that I enjoy, that feel true to the universe. Long years of experience allow me to temper those expectations. And so I will just be hopeful that they reach mass acclaim, or at least mass enjoyment, if not acclaim, and that it brings people into the hobby. So that's the big news. They said in the article, a couple of years, that is a normal development time for where they are now, which is signed a deal to actually having something that you can watch. But, worth monitoring. If you enjoy obsessively following things, I'm sure there will be the opportunities to see, oh, this person got cast in this thing, or, oh, this is the project that's been announced. Let's all, fan person out about it and really figure it out. So that's the big news. And honestly, the reason there is a show today is just so that I can say my piece about that, make sure everyone knows that it's coming, and get everyone excited. So that is the big news for the day. Let's get into the 3 events that are worth having a discussion about today.
What's winning?
All right, like I said, 3 events. The holidays in the northern developed world are fast approaching, and that is impacting the amount of people who want to go play 40K, at least for a full weekend, in order to be talked about. So the first event that we have is the Rise of the Rise of Empires, the Rise of the Empire, in Houston, Texas. It was 89 players. It was 6 rounds. It was won by Colin McDade. He was playing Necrons. Necrons did have a good weekend starting out. I think this is the first weekend that events were largely letting them be used. And I will admit, part of what I'm going to do over the holidays is I'm going to actually try to learn what the heck Necron words mean, because it used to just be you have your 1 or 2 unkillable bricks of either warriors or immortals. You have random mission playing tools around the outside, and it was fine. Let's see what Colin brought. Well, the title of his list is, at least it's 18 Wraiths instead of 27 Chickens. I think that gives us an idea. It is a Canoptic Court, which is the detachment that everyone thinks will be good. We have both a Nightbringer and a Void Dragon. I'm hearing a lot that named Catan shards are the way to go. 1 Hexmark Destroyer, 3 Technomancers, and a Transcendent Catan. So 3 total Catans in there. 18 Wraiths, 5 Flayed Ones, 1 Locust Heavy Destroyer, and 2 3s of Tomb Blades. Okay, so this is an army that thinks that it can just kill you, and that's the plan. So that's fun and interesting. Necrons got good in 9th because they played the mission better than anyone else did. They're like, if you don't interact with me, we will score 100 points by turn 4 at least, if not turn 3. So interact with me. And then people realized, okay, we can. And Necrons, you're not actually that scary. And then in 10th, we have these unkillable units. We're going to exist here and score points. Can you deal with that? And then you could or you couldn't. So Necrons that actually are the offensive threat would be a sort of interesting thing. We have Justin Moore in second place with Chaos Space Marines. Let's see if Justin did anything fun with his Chaos Space Marines. Justin named some of his people. He has 3 Chaos Lords: Ronald Reagan, William Shatner, and Michael Jackson. Tells you probably a lot about our good friend Justin here. 1, 2, 3 Dark Communes. This is the Manny list. 3 units, 3 5s of Legionnaires, 3 Dark Communes, 3 5s of Chosen, 1 Forge Fiend, 3 Rhinos, 1 Nurgling. Okay. Yep, that's that list. It is still good. It is still very scary. Noah Pope, 3rd place with Eldari. Noah, let's guess. 3 Night Spinners. Oh boy. He asked ChatGPT to write something about his list. And there's a long intro to lists. Okay, cool. He's got a Wayleaper. Oh, he's doing Avatar, no Incarn. Avatar, Wayleaper, a Farseer Skyrunner, Fugan, and a Spirit Seer. This is the thing we're sort of seeing. 2 units of Dark Reapers. I wonder if they have a transport. Only 1 Night Spinner. 10 Shadow Specters in 1 unit. 2 5s of Swooping Hawks, 2 Warwalkers, and 10 Wraithguard. Okay, I mean, that counts as interesting for Eldar. No Incarn, only the solo Night Spinner, and double Dark Reapers. I guess they are cheaper indirect, but don't come with the you don't get to have any fun or move part of it. So that was Noah's army. And then Carmine Batista also brought Eldari. Let's see what Carmine did. Carmine was Wayleaper, regular Farseer, Fugan, Spirit Seer, and Incarn. 1, 2, 3 Night Spinners, 2 5s of Hawks, 2 5s of Spiders, and 10 Wraithguard. Carmine knows what's up. This is about what you would expect to see on the other side of the table if you're playing against Eldar. It is grossly effective. I think that would sap the fun out of the game for both players, but fun is subjective, and I will not yuck someone's yum. So that was the Rise of the Empire GT that took place in Texas this weekend. We next have a WTC Navideño Individual Ranqueado Kingdom. I only butchered this pronunciation of the first word. The second one is Rankeado. Ranqueado. Anyway, it's in Madrid, Spain. 74 players, 5 rounds. I swear that the Spanish meta is just one of the true uncovered gems in this community. It was won by Monedita Gonzalez with Death Guard. So let's see what Monedita did. We have 2 Biologus Putrefiers and 2 Foul Light Spawns. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 5s of Plague Marines and a single 10 of Plague Marines. They run around in 3 total Rhinos. There are 10 Cultists, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, 2 3s of Nurglings, and 3 War Dog Brigands. So again, this presents a very static profile of can you kill Rhino / War Dog chassis? If no, lose. If yes, then there's some scary stuff inside, and the Rhinos ensure that the Plague Marines get close enough to actually do some work. There's good mission playing in there because it's faster than normal because it has the Rhinos. Good shooting and very scary up close play. You look at the data sheet on Plague Marines, you're like, okay, that's fine. And then once you layer in all the various rules that they have, they kill stuff they get close to. So that's what Monedita won the WTC Navideño Individual Ranqueado Kingdom event with. Manue brought an army that is just listed in BCP as Exorcists. I'm assuming this is Sisters, and there are 3 Exorcists. But let's find out together, shall we? This is not. It's Eldar. Okay, cool. Farseer, Spirit Seer, Fugan, and Incarn. 1 unit of Rangers, 1 unit of Shadow Specters, 3 units of Warp Spiders, 10 Wraithguard, and 3 Night Spinners. Not quite sure why this is called Exorcists. And I think what the intro to his list says in Spanish is basically Eldar vehicles shoot. Yeah. So that is what Manue brought. Alejandro Mancuso Serrano brought Blood Angels, or did he? Let's find out. Blood Angels and a Gladius, good man. Apothecary Biologist with the aggressors, Lamarties and the Lieutenant with combi weapon, they're the aggressors. There are 6 Dev Centurions in a Gladius, okay. 10 Death Company Marines with jump packs and 5 Death Company Marines with jump packs. 1 big Inceptor and 2 small ones. Only one of the small ones has bolters. The 6 and the other 3 have plasma. Librarian Dreadnought to give something to jump. 1, 2, 3 Scout Squads because they're amazing. And they are going to be available, I believe, this coming weekend in that Kill Team box. So pick up yours today. Fun and interesting. Blood Angels. I honestly would have probably put this in a Vanguard because of those dev cents, but also not sure what dev cents are doing in a Gladius. So cool on Alejandro Mancuso Serrano. And then we have OUX, who it's listed here, brought Imperial Knights. OUX is a thing that person did. They brought a Warden, 3 Helvrins, and 6 Warglaves, and a Calidus Assassin, and 2 Inquisitorial Henchmen. It's what you do with Imperial Knights. Often beautiful hobby projects, rarely very exciting lists to discuss. Although I have often gone down the rabbit hole of how can I build a cool Knights army and then realize, oh, those rules are blocked out, this, that, or the other way. And the final event that we're going to talk about here is the Grimdark 18, the Grand Tournament 4 in Stockholm, Sweden. 52 players, 5 rounds, won by Sebastian Larsson with Chaos Knights. Sebastian, let's see how many War Dogs Sebastian shoved into a list, shall we? 1 Stalker, 6 Brigands, 2 Huntsmen, 3 Carnivores, and 4 threes of Nurglings. I thought you could only bring 3 threes of Nurglings. Well, Sebastian was allowed to bring 4, and Sebastian won the Grimdark 18 Grand Tournament. Johan Norman potentially brought Black Templars. Let's find out if Johan actually brought Black Templars, because that, as you all know, will make me quite excited. Johan did, and brought him in a Gladius, which makes me less excited, but that's fine. 2 Captains and Helbrecht. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this is my man. 6 Crusader squads, the 5-mans, with an interesting collection. 5 of them are Melta and multi-Melta, and 1 of them is Gravgun. Okay. 3 Impulsors, that those must carry the captains who all have sword bros that we'll get to. 3 Rhinos, 2 small Inceptor squads, and yep, here are the 3 sword bro squads, and 3 scout squads, and a solo Inquisitor. Okay. Not quite sure what that Inquisitor does. They all have different abilities that let them do fun and interesting things. I'm sure you can go with one of the Crusader squads and give them a fun little piece of oof. This is a very interesting list because it will deploy 6 transports on the board and then the scouts where they need to be. It has a ridiculous amount of units once everything is disembarked, and all of those units can hit relatively hard. Why is this Gladius and not the Black Templar? Okay, here's my pitch on this one being the actual Black Templar detachment instead of Gladius. In Gladius, what you're getting are the 2 doctrines, advance and charge and advance and shoot. Those are good. Those are fine. Some of the stratagems are fine. The stratagems balance out between the 2. You are missing out on having either sustained or lethal hits in your units. And what the sustained or lethal hits let you do is let those Crusader squads actually punch up and be scary. Without the advantages of that, you have the Lance strat, which is fine, but your Sword Bros would do just as well with sustained or lethal hits off of your Vow as they would off of the Lance strat from the Captain. There's still a fight on death. You could still do basically all of the tricks that you could with the Black Templar as opposed to Gladius, and you randomly have the ability to pivot into a Feel No Pain or the Kill the Psyker Vow, which you get to make a decision every game, and I think that flexibility is better than Gladius. That's my pitch. I'm probably wrong because better players than me make the other decision, but that's my pitch. And that's what Johan did, and Johan is my champion of the week thus far because I love that list. We next have Frank Kummel brought AdMech. Let's see what AdMech looks like these days. It's going to be chickens or walkers, is my guess. We have 3 Tech Priest Dominus, 1 Manipulist, and 1 Techno-Archaeologist, 2 Tens of Skitarii Vanguard, 3 Dune Riders, the transports. They carry around probably one of those Vanguards, and then only 2 Tens of Electro Priests, 1 Autocannon Chicken, 12 Breachers, 2 5s of Flappy Boys. Those are Taraxi Skystalkers, for those of you who haven't been around long enough to remember that those guys are called Flappy Boys. 2 Jezel Chickens and 2 Melee Chickens. All the chickens are solo. So 5 chickens, 12 Breachers, and 20 Electro Priests. Hey, you're seeing chickens again. I think chickens are really cool units. I've never had to build one. That's part of why I think they're cool. Interesting and fun list. It would be nice to see some AdMech actually be good but not oppressive on the tabletop. So congrats to Frank there. And our final list of the week, we have Juan Manuel Sanchez Molina with Orcs. Let's see what Juan did. Juan has Gaz. Seeing more of Gaz. I like Gaz. I'm not sure if Gaz is optimal because I don't know Orcs one way or the other, but I'm just always happy when there's Gaz on the other side of the table. It feels like 40K. We got Mozrog, Knob on Squig, 3 Knobs on Smash a Squig. Okay. 2 War Bosses and Weird Boy, 1 Truck, 2 Tens of Gretchen, 3 Mega Knobs, 10 and a 5 of regular knobs. We got a Squigoth. Squigoths are fun. 633 of Squighog Boys and 3 Warbikers. So this is a fast moving, lots of folks on piggies or big piggies, Squigoth, come at you, punch you in the face. That's what Orcs do. And it's just interesting to see what variety of ways they bring to punch you in the face. And folks, that's it for tournaments. There was no other big things that are really worth chatting about this week. And as I said, my back is iffy. So with that, thank you all for being here during 2023. It was a fun, interesting, and tumultuous year in life and in 40K. We had 10th edition, and quite frankly, 10th edition, there are absolutely some balance issues that came early and are still lingering, although lingering much less so. But in terms of the bones of the game, 40K is in a wonderful place. We will be getting one more data slate probably early in January. I would anticipate the second week that I talk to you, although, again, sadly, I know nothing. This is just guesses. That I bet you tones down your Eldaris and your Chaos Space Marines just a bit. Leave Black Templars alone, please. And we're going to be in a really good place going into the edition as we start to get more and more codices. We're 4 in. They have like 4 of them that they have promised in spring, which is basically start of the new year in through April. So probably 1 a month, if not more, coming through. Widespread of factions that are going to get them. It's going to be a good time. But for the next 2 weeks, take some time to spend time with loved ones, whomever that is. Take care of yourself. Remember, blood isn't necessarily family. If the people you're related to don't bring you joy, you're not obliged to spend the holidays with them. You're obliged to make yourself happy in any and all things in safe and responsible manners. Of course, enjoy safe and responsible holidays, and we will be back here in a couple of weeks. Have fun and thanks. Oh, wait, there were comments. Sorry. SP asked if ChatGPT can write a 40K list. It's been attempted. They don't work very well. PCG Scorpion thought that was a good question. And then Sindri Tepik said, good morning all. So hi, Sindri. I will do better about checking comments while I'm doing this. Still ironing out the kinks of this being a solo show. Over under for Colin's return, mid to late 2024. But that's just a guess as well. With that, thank you all. It's been a privilege and a pleasure getting to talk at you for about an hour every week, and I look forward to continuing to do so. And next time it will be closer to an hour. There just wasn't a lot to talk about this week. Bye-bye.